Hey everybody, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan, and this is Kana, and you're in my corner. I also have a special guest in my corner, and that would be J. Michael Tatum. Thank you so much for joining the show.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. It's quite an honor.
I'm actually really happy to have you on because I hear you're a great talker, so I'm sure we'll have fun.
I don't know about a great talker, but I'm certainly a long talker.
I'm curious, how did you originally get your start in the sort of anime world?
Oh, well, here's a great example of a long story.
Oh boy.
It's curious, actually. It was really kind of a combination of just luck and the right people kind of hearing something in me that I didn't. But to be perfectly honest, when the opportunity arose to get into this industry, I had long ago abandoned really any dream of being a professional actor because, well, it takes a great deal of courage to embark on that kind of career, and I'm just not a very courageous person. So I actually had a whole other career playing out at the time when a good friend of mine who I'd known for a couple of years, a director, writer, and actor himself, named Christopher Bevins, who's been part of the Funimation scene for quite some time and has got a great many really awesome credits under his belt, just sort of called me out of the blue one day and asked if I would come in to audition for him on a show that he was casting. And the thought so terrified me that I actually declined. I told him no. And that I just, I hadn't acted in years and just didn't think that, I would be right for what he wanted me to do. And I kept coming up with horrible excuses. And, of course, but he had none of it. He's a very, very driven person. And when he gets something into his head, it's going to happen one way or another. So I sort of, after begging off of it for a couple of weeks, he finally just told me, look, you're coming into audition whether you want to or not, so let's just get this over with. And so under protest, I came into the studio to audition, teeth chattering and palms sweaty, having no idea what I would do. And what happened was the show was Samurai 7, based on, of course, a film that I know very well, that I love. It's one of my favorites. And the part he wanted me to audition for was Rikichi, who's a pretty substantial part, particularly for someone who'd never done this before. And we spent about 4 hours auditioning, which is unheard of to me. I mean, I've had experience with stage and things like that, and I'd always thought, well, auditions are very quick. You can't be productive and hold 4-hour auditions. With one person, it doesn't work that way. Come to find out that when it was all over and done with, we had actually been recording that entire time, and so when I stepped out of the booth, pretty certain that I did not get the part, he'd informed me, oh yeah, you do have the part. In fact, we just recorded the first 5 episodes, so you're an actor now. and so I was kind of tricked into this, if you like, but I'm very glad I let myself be talked into it, because I've absolutely, I mean, it really was luck, and I've and I don't know, if it had been anyone else but Chris Bevins, no one else would have been able to, get me into that booth to audition. I'm just too scared. But I guess I was more scared of him than I was at the prospect of auditioning. So in the end, it worked out. And here I am.
I must say that that must have been very interesting to learn that. Oh wait, I'm already in it. He must have had you in mind from the beginning.
Well, he kind of said he did, and it was really funny, the story he told me, because I made him answer for that. I was like, why me? Why, presumably there's many actors you could choose from up there that have been doing this for a long time. Why choose someone that's never done this before? And his explanation was that there was just, he really loved the show, and he's very, very careful about who he casts, and he also loves to try out new people that he thinks will bring something that he's never heard before into a role. And there was just, to hear him tell it, there was just something in my voice that really recommended me to him without me even knowing it. I mean, I'd known him for a couple of years at the time. So he'd heard me talk like I'm talking to you a lot and figured, well, he's certainly got wind enough to do this. But yeah, it was just one of those crazy things. Bevins is a genius, I think, in my opinion, and I don't say that because he picked me, but for someone that had no experience in front of a mic and hadn't actually acted in quite a few years, he really took me under his wing and sort of shaped me chisel by chisel into the actor that I became. And he's still, in many, many ways, not only a dear friend, but very much the sort of creative compass that I look for. And that's another aspect of just the unbelievable good luck I've had in this industry, is getting to know people like Chris, who are so brilliant at what they do, but also so generous with their insight into what they think you're capable of, and helping you get to that point. So I don't know what I ever did to deserve this luck, but I'm glad I have it. I'll say that.
Hey, good karma. That's all it should be.
I hope so.
Now, I wonder, though, you're exposed to sort of this world of anime. How'd you get into other projects if you were so adamant and not auditioning for the first?
Well, it was funny. I didn't really have any other parts to speak of for about 8 months when I started. We just focused solely on Samurai 7. And as it was, I got to meet very few other people up at the studio because I still had a 9-to-5 job at the time. So Chris would have to work around my schedule to get me in. We'd go up there on weekends or at evenings when, for the most part, the studios are empty. And it was only after several months of that I started meeting other people and just meeting, getting to, I would hear them recorded, as I was recording, but I wouldn't, I'd meet them later and be like, oh, you played this person, oh, you played that person, and then Chris would introduce me to people that he could, and just slowly but surely I just kind of got known, and then other people like Mike McFarlane and Colleen Clinkenbeard would step in and say, hey, I really liked you in Samurai 7. I want to use you for this. And then just slowly but surely, every time I would do it, just because I figured, well, I've been doing this now, and every time I was nervous, I still get nervous when I go in, and I know everybody up there, it seems, and they know me very well. I'm kind of, I live up there half the time, it seems now, but 5 years ago when I was starting out, I would get these serious butterflies in my stomach every time going into audition. But, I learned from Chris how to be brave, or if not how to be brave, at least how to fake bravery, and just do it. So it got easier as I went along.
It's kind of interesting that you noted that you still get nervous, I think.
Oh, I absolutely do. Auditioning is I love doing it. I mean, there's nothing like it in the world, and it's gone from absolute terror to being just kind of this nice anxiousness. But I still get the butterflies. I still do. That's part of what makes it so much fun. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a raw experience going into audition, because you're expected as an actor to just go in and breathe life into a character by pure instinct. You don't really, the director often doesn't give you much direction, because the point of an audition is to see how well you work in a vacuum, I suppose, and then so the director can kind of get a sense of just where you are with the character before they even offer their version to you. And so it's, you have to take a lot of chances and have to be willing to take risks. And as I said earlier, I'm not a very courageous person, but I've slowly but surely learned how to be a little riskier, a little more, willing to roll the dice than I used to be. But that's acting, I suppose.
I actually think that's really awesome, because, you hear about it, that's the thrill, but you don't really get to talk about it with a lot of people. Like, listeners out here who still think that, hey, I don't get nervous when I talk to you guys, and, because I've been doing it for 4 months now. But there's still something there that, there's a rush of being either on air or auditioning or part of a character.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes it's even, you even get more nervous when you're auditioning for someone you know quite well. When I came into audition for Bevins that first time, I knew him very well. We had been very close friends for several years at that point. But it was interesting that as the process unfolded, I saw a completely different side of him than I'd ever known. I mean, he'd always been this very laid-back, very charming guy, who I, would go out with, and he'd come over the house and we'd watch movies together. I mean, he was, and he was a great conversationalist, but when he gets in that director's chair, he just becomes this force of nature. He's a taskmaster, but he's brilliant. He can say in a brilliantly concise way something to just makes you snap into place, and you go, oh my God, that's totally where this line needs to be. And it gets you there as an actor. And it's startling to see that quality in a person when in the quote-unquote real world, that that quality doesn't often get a chance to emerge. So when you know, it's every time you go into audition for somebody that you know, you see a different side of them, and not just because the job is different than their their workaday selves, if you like, is different than the person you see when you're just out socializing. But each show brings out something different in the director. Depending on what they do. You know, if they're directing a comedy, they may be a little more lighthearted in the auditions. If they're doing something very grim and serious, that might reflect on their approach. And so it's kind of nerve-wracking. Just as you have to sort of plume the depths of your own soul, if you like. That sounds kind of highfalutin, but, you know, we'll stay with it. Every time you have to bring a character to life, you know, you have to learn something a little new about yourself. At least that's the idea. And I think the same holds true of a director. You learn something different about all the people you work with, just about every project you encounter. And so that's part of where that nervousness comes from, is going, oh, what's this person going to be like under these auspices? You know, it's fascinating to me, though. I love it. I could never ever be bored with it because of that endless dynamic is always changing, and it's just, I mean, who wouldn't be fascinated by that?
I mean, I'm fascinated listening, so that might say something. I do have to wonder, though, you went into ADR direction yourself, correct?
I did.
How did you initially get into that after voicing characters? Was that another, hey, we want you to do this, why don't you try it out?
Actually, it kind of was. I'm very bad about seeking things out for myself. I really don't so much. If the opportunity arises, I tend to, just out of gratitude for being given the opportunity, I'll take it. But I very rarely make it a point of going, hey, I'd like to do this, I'd like to do this. You know, before I ever came into audition for Chris, I knew what he did for a living, but I never, ever hounded him about it. Even though deep down, some part of me was like, oh, that'd be so much fun. When I was approached by Colleen Klinkenbeer, another dear friend of mine, also extremely, extremely talented woman, my God, we had been working together on a couple of projects, actually, and one of them was Aquarion, which I played the main villain in, a guy named Toma. And I still had my 9-to-5 job, which was becoming less and less satisfying the deeper I got into the voice acting industry. And I kept kind of thinking, wow, it'd be great if I could somehow make a living at just, you know, in this industry rather than having to balance two careers. You know, that's a lot of plates to spin, and it's kind of difficult to do. And, you know, as if to answer this quiet prayer, Colleen just came in and said, hey, you know, the director for Aquarion has an opportunity to move to New York, Brandon Potter, and so I'm going to need someone to take over the show. Since you know it so well, would you like to give it a shot? And I just kind of looked at her, and you know, there were two parts of me that responded to that. There was the part of me that goes, no. It's the same part that declined Chris's offer to come in an audition years before. But there was the other part of me that said, yes. And thank God that was the part of me that was louder that day. So I got the job. And again, ever since, that's just kind of what happens. The more you do, the sort of more you get to do up there, because of you get your fingers in a lot of pies. Similar with the writing, which I've also done for a while now. You know, once you just know people, because just about everyone up there that is up there consistently, that makes a living in this industry, doesn't do it for any one thing. You know, there's no actor up there that just does only acting. It's impossible to make a living that way, unless you live in a cave or something and have no bills.
I wish that were true.
Yeah. But so a lot of the people up there, like Todd Haberkorn, Colleen, you know, Eric Vale, Chris, all of us, you know, wear a lot of hats. We have to in order to make a living at it. And so once you're up there a lot and you're available, people just go, okay, well, hey, can you do this? Do you want to try your hand at this? And suddenly you get to do more stuff. And you know, it's fun, it's great, I love it, but again, I never, ever in my life would have expected this. I never expected to become a voice actor. I never expected to become a director. I never expected to become a writer. But now that I'm here, now that luck has kind of carved out this little niche for me, I feel so at home. if that makes any sense.
It does, and I can actually sympathize and understand a little bit, because I never thought I would be doing this, and here I am, every weekday for 4 hours, and it's something I love, and it's apparent that you love what you do.
Isn't it marvelous, though, when that happens just by sheer, not by accident, but by, like I said, I just given up any dreams of being an actor, and I really passionately wanted to be an actor when I was younger. I did a lot of stage work and even considered going to school for it, but ultimately didn't because I decided on a different path. But, here all these years later, it's as though finally that part of me that I'd long ago sort of left for dead is finally vindicated, which is fun. I just never would have expected it. It's kind of, you feel as guilty, or I do anyway. I'm not speaking for you, but sometimes you feel just as guilty for having waited as long. At least I did. I mean, I think to myself, man, if I'd had, if I'd have just had just the tiny smidgen of courage that I had, when I was 28, when I started doing this for a living, if I'd had that when I was 18, I could have started this much earlier, and God knows what I might have accomplished by now. But yeah, you don't think of that. I'm happy where I am at the moment and in the present. But yeah, it still feels, and I say this all the time, but it's absolutely true. It still feels like such a dream to me that I'm just waiting for someone to come pinch me, and not anytime soon, hopefully, because it's a nice dream.
Don't encourage the fans. They might do that at a convention.
That's true. That's true.
I will say, though, that we're going to take a very short break here on 91.8 The Fan, but stay tuned for more awesome voice actor goodness. Only on 91.8 The Fan, everything you want, nothing you don't.
Hi, I'm the Celtic Guardian, but you guys can call me Dave. When I'm not busy being sacrificed in order to summon monsters that are halfway useful, I like to listen to 918 The Fan, one of the hottest online radio shows on the worldwide internet highway. Did I mention I have like 1,400 attack points? That's a big deal in my world, Plus, I have a sword. Does the Blue Eyes White Dragon have a sword? No. Fuck the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Seriously.
Hey everybody, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. This is Kana. You're in my corner. And I also have J. Michael Tatum in my corner.
Hello. I'm in your corner.
Yes, you are. And actually, it's time for you to pick what we talk about, because I would like to know what current projects or upcoming projects you have.
Oh, well, goodness. There's quite a few. Unfortunately, I never really know for sure what I can and can't divulge. But I know that there's some stuff that's coming out or that has just come out that I'm really excited about. I know that the Funimation's dub of Initial D will be out soon, if not already, and I'm very excited about that because I've, of course, played a big part in that. Also wrote quite a few of the adapted scripts for that series. Really a lot of fun to work on. Didn't know a lot about cars before doing the homework for that show. Now I feel like something of an expert. Not that I could ever change my own oil, but maybe. There are other things. I'm very happy that, of course, Sergeant Frog. That's been out for a while, though, isn't it? That's getting a lot of love. I'm really, really pleased about that. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, of course, is currently airing, and I am thrilled beyond words to be part of that project because I'm a huge, huge fan of not only the manga but the anime series not the original anime series, because I guess, well, it's confusing because I know the first anime series is not quite that closely related to the manga as Brotherhood is, but I'm such a fan of that series, and it wrapped really before I got into this industry, so I didn't really get to be part of it, although I was an extra or two in The Conqueror of Shambhala, which was great. I came home that day years ago going, I just got to be part of Full Metal Alchemist, yay! And now here I am playing Scar, which is incredibly intimidating and wonderful and a great experience, and I'm just stoked beyond belief that it's on air and that everyone seems to like it as much as they do, because the show deserves a lot of love. I know Mike and everyone puts Mike McFarlane puts a lot of love and effort into that show, and I think it's wonderful.
And you guys finished recording that, right?
Not yet. No, we're still in the process, because the show goes on for a while, I believe. I'm not sure how long it goes, but no, we're still in the midst of recording that, as far as I know. But yeah, so that's a big thing I'm really excited about. There's other things. If I can mention really quickly, a very good friend, an actress and director, she actually was my co-director on Rin, Daughters of Mnemosyne, which is a project I was very proud of. It's a very adult project, so any of your listeners that are under the age of 18 should not touch it, but but it's a good drama if you're old enough. And it was great fun to work on that project. Terry and I, Terry Doty, bonded significantly over that project and went on to do other things. We're now currently doing a little podcast we call That Anime Show, where we just, the two of us, sit and usually lambaste, the polite word is interview fellow industry insiders and talk to them about their experiences and their hopes, their dreams, all that good stuff. And we've been running that. It's downloadable now for free at thatanimeshowisgreat.org. And we've got interviews with like Brina Palencia and Brian Massey and Joel McDonald. A lot of great ones coming up as well. Great information. Go to the site. It's a really, really funny show. I'm really proud to be a part of it. And Terry is wonderfully, wonderfully just talented, and she's a genius at what she does. And that's there. I plugged that. And oh, man, I could go on forever, but you know what? I probably shouldn't because, as I said before, I'm never quite sure when I'm crossing a line and talking what I really ought not to talk about, so maybe I should shut up now before I get myself in trouble.
No, I understand. You have those NDAs, and we've had to deal with them and hear about them plenty of times.
Yeah.
They're our favorite.
I will say just broadly, there are quite a few things I'm working on right now that I know I can't speak about, but I'm I'm just... A couple in particular, I'm just beside myself to get to work on. Oh, I can't wait till I can talk about them. Hopefully we'll be soon, but until then I just have to keep my mouth shut.
Well, make sure to update us. That way we can update our listeners when you are allowed to.
Sure. I'd be happy to.
And I'm wondering, do you have a website or a Twitter or Facebook, anything where our listeners can stalk you on the interwebs?
I don't have a Twitter account, just because God knows where I would ever find the time. I do have a Facebook page. It's just under Michael Tatum rather than the J, though I really ought to change that so people aren't as confused anymore. But yeah, I have a Facebook page, and people are more than welcome to contact me, be them, for whatever reason. I pretty much, I don't update it or go on Facebook as often as I'd like to, but I do try to get on there every now and again. And that's pretty much it. I'm kind of a recluse.
Well, no, I can.
None of that. Not yet. I feel like the old man. I ought to be sitting on my porch waving at cars or something.
Oh, see, no. My mom's old. You're not old.
Oh, thank you. You're very sweet. But I'm old.
Now, fans can meet you at conventions, though, too. Do you have any plan for this year?
I do. As a matter of fact, I'm very excited. Anime Central is next month, I believe, May 14th. I'll be there.
You will see us there, actually, with the broadcasting live.
Good. You'll have to stop me and get me to do a little dance or something for you.
I sadly won't be there because I'm in Vegas, but my CEO, Sandy, will be there.
Vegas for you.
And for me.
But, yeah, there's Anime Central. There's also Colossal Con in Ohio coming up in June, I believe. Or is that July? I think that's June. No, that is June. And MechaCon, I think is... I hope I've got the name right. I'm suddenly slipping my head. But, yeah, MechaCon in New Orleans, I think, is in July. And I'll be there as well. So I've got 3 cons that I know of going in for the summer. Pretty much every one this summer, every one every month, which will be fun. I do love the con circuit. It's fun. I've done more conventions this year than I've done ever. And it's been a blast. I get to travel. It's meet, great kids that, not just kids. There's people of all ages, which is really great about it because I'm such a fan. It's nice to meet people my own age who are also fans of these conventions, and even, dare I say, dress up. So it's so gratifying. You can't imagine. I'm like, oh, yay, you're also 33 and in costume. That's awesome.
So do you dress up?
Never.
Do you cosplay?
I don't, but I'm going to. I've kind of committed now. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I'm endeavoring to cosplay as Scar at some point because finally a character who I've got the build of. Most of the characters I play are far too svelte and slender waisted to for me to really pull them off at my age. But scar, I think I could do a decent scar. So I want to do that at some point, but that's going to take some doing. I don't know how I'm going to get the tattoo. But
And just don't marker your face.
Oh my God.
That would be bad. Don't marker your face.
So yeah, so a lot of cons coming up and all sorts of stuff. I'm a busy bee. I don't really know how I keep track of all of it.
I would suggest a BlackBerry or an iPhone, something where you can write it down your phone.
Yes, because my very complicated system of Post-it notes doesn't seem to be working anymore.
No, that's what my friend Sandy does. He likes to put Post-it notes all around his screen, and then I'm like, Sandy, have you done this? It's like I don't see the Post-it note. Where is it?
There was back in the day when I was first doing this, I would if I would get a call from the talent coordinator at Funimation, wonderful girl named Tara, who we all love getting calls from because it means work. She would call my cell phone. I'd be at my job, my 9 to 5, and she'd call in the middle of a meeting or something, and I would call her back, and she'd say, "Oh, can you come in for such and such day for such and such amount of hours?" And I would then call my home phone, my landline, and leave myself a message, so that by the time I got home, I would have it there, kind of in digital writing, if you like. And that was my system of checks and balances. I was just calling and leaving myself pathetic voicemail messages. So
well, that's one way to do it.
I'm happy to say now I have risen above that to some extent, but I do need something like a BlackBerry or something, something constructive, something efficient.
Now, I'm wondering, this is actually sort of a random question, but have you ever thought of getting into more camera and commercial work, or you think the anime circuit is for you?
Well, the anime circuit is definitely for me, and whatever happens, I don't suspect I will ever leave it of my own volition, because I really do. I'm an anime geek. I totally am. I have been since I was a kid. And so getting to do this now, I mean, I am totally a fanboy turned actor, but I'm still a fanboy at heart. And I will always, if given the chance, I will do this for the rest of my life. That said, if the opportunity ever arose to do some camera work or some other, to act on, I've recently seen a very good friend of mine, Joel McDonald, in fact, who's an actor, director, and writer up at Funimation as well, and a very talented one, I might add. Recently got to see him in a stage play where he played the surrealist artist Salvador Dali. And it was wonderful, and he was great in the role, absolutely just inimitable. And seeing it really makes me want to approach the stage again for the first time in, what will be a decade. So I do want to branch out a little bit if the opportunity arises itself. But at this point, certainly not to the detriment of what I'm doing now, because I'm doing so much that I feel like if I just pulled out of this, I would feel so disoriented if I got out of this in one fell swoop, So if I ever do go into other fields, it'll have to be very sporadic and very, very just little bits at a time, because I'm going to be a fanboy for quite a while. I don't think that's ever going to change. So
I think that's the best way to be, though.
I think so. Just hopefully I'll also continue to be an employed fanboy. That's always good, too, but,
Now I'm wondering, before we let you go, if you'd like to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
Sure.
We ask everybody who comes on, whether they're a voice actor or not, if they'd be willing to do a bump for us.
I would be honored.
Oh, well, thank you. We were wondering if you could say the line, whether in your voice, character's voice, whatever you want to do, whatever goofy thing or calm thing you would like, if you could say, "My name is, I do this, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan."
Cool. Okay. I'm writing this down because I'm an actor.
That's okay. That's what everybody does.
I'm like, I want to make sure I get it absolutely perfectly. So my name is, I do this, and 91.8 and you're listening to 91.8 The Fan.
Yes.
All right. Well, cool. Whenever you're ready, I will give it a shot.
Whenever you're ready, we're all set.
All right. Hello, this is J. Michael Tatum. I'm a voice actor, writer, and director for the anime set, and you are listening to 91.8 The Fan.
Awesome stuff. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. You were very, very good at this.
I appreciate it. And is there anything else you'd like to say to the listeners out there?
Something I always like to say to all of you. Thank you all so much for your support, for being as kind and as gracious as you are. Thank you. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to all of us in this industry. So please, by all means, keep it up.
And that was J. Michael Tatum. Make sure to keep it tuned to 91.8 Fan, everything you want, nothing you don't. Here's the new OP to Working.